everyone, and welcome back to my doll collecting channel. Today I have a highly requested video, which is my top 15 tips for shopping on eBay when shopping for American Girl dolls. Now this is a highly requested video because I have bought about, I think all of my dolls I've bought as an adult, I've bought used, except for one. And half of them came from eBay, others I've gotten from thrift stores and Facebook Marketplace, but today I'm just going to be focusing on my eBay tips because I find a lot of people, if you don't have experience shopping on eBay, it can kind of be intimidating and kind of scary considering there's so much, products on eBay, and it can be overwhelming. So I thought I would give you my tips so you don't get scammed, but also make sure that you get a good deal. So the very first tip is there is 3 different features that are featured on eBay. There's the buy it now feature versus bidding. Now the buy it now means is that the seller gets to set a price like $50, and then you just click buy it now, and it's just like buying something on Amazon that you get it for that price and you pay for it and it ships as soon as possible. The bidding is a little bit different. So the way it works is that there's a starting bid, so like let's say $10, and people bid their max bids, and so for example, if you say the most I want to spend on this doll is $50, eBay will keep raising the price based on what other people are what their max bids are, and so, but it will stop once it gets past $50 and you don't end up winning the doll. So the highest bidder, whoever is willing to spend the most money, wins the doll. Even if you, let's say, bid $100, you say that's your max bid, doesn't mean you're going to spend $100, because if the next highest bidder is $70, then you would end up paying something like $71 or $75, so just a little bit above the other person's max bid. So even if you put your highest bid as this, it might not reach it. There's also something really cool called the best offer feature, and this is optional for the seller, but it can appear both on buy it now versus bidding. With the best offer, if you're doing something for buy it now, you can offer a price that's lower than the buy it now price, and they can, that would mean that you get it right away if they accept that offer. So for example, if the buy it now is $50 and you offer $40 and they accept it, then you pay $40. However, with bidding, you want to offer a little bit over what the starting bid is or what the bid is right now. So for example, if the bid is like $30 now and you want to offer $100 or something like that because the doll's worth like $200, they might accept it because they don't want to wait around for the bidding, and they might get more money if they accept your offer than if they let just people bid. So hopefully that's not too complicated. With the buy it now, it's pretty good because you don't have to wait and you can buy it right away. However, that means other people can buy it right away, so you don't have that much time to think about it. However, it's a set price, so you can, plan for it and you can get it right away. However, with bidding, it is possible that it could be cheaper or it could be more expensive depending on how the bidding goes. Tip number 2 is try to search broad search terms. If you have lots of time, I would just type in American Girl doll. That's how I found my Elizabeth doll for $50. And technically she would have been $40, but it was like $50 for shipping and import fees because I live in Canada, so the shipping costs a lot. So if you do a broader search term and just know what you're looking for, then you could find a doll for a really great price, because not everyone is an expert in American Girl dolls, so they'll just list something American Girl doll and not list the character's name or things like that. You could also, you could type in American Girl with kind of the features you like. So if you really wanted the character of Felicity, you could type in American Girl red hair and green eyes, or American Girl red hair, and then look through the dolls with those listings, because not everyone knows the character names, and sometimes they don't come with their outfits, so they'll just do it based on how the doll looks. So doing broad terms like American Girl doll or American Girl, and then put whatever hair and eye color or just hair color or just eye color, you will get more options. You have to sift through more, but you chances are you would probably find a much better price than if you typed in American Girl Felicity, because American Girl Felicity, if people know it's a Felicity doll, then they would charge more for it. Number 3 is always look and triple check photos. And ask yourself questions. Is the hair cut? Is there any obvious damages like marker or rips in the torso, or if a dog got a hold of the arms and legs and chewed through it? And my advice is don't buy a doll that doesn't have the hair down or in a low ponytail. Braids and buns can hide damaged or cut hair, and this did happen to me. The hair did look okay because it was in a low ponytail, but when I received it, it was cut. So if the hair is down, you can see if it's actually cut or anything like that. So I would never buy a doll with hair that's in a bun. Braids, I would be a little bit more wary of. If it's a doll like Kaya, it might be that they never took out the braids, but I would just be very, very careful and just always check the photos. And if you're not sure, don't buy it, because there's lots of dolls available, and even if there's not dolls right now, there will be more in the future. There will always be more dolls, so just make sure that you're buying one in good condition. Or if you don't mind a doll that's haircut because you're going to buy a new wig, consider that when budgeting your doll, because $20 can add up. So even if you're willing to spend $50 on a doll, make sure you're kind of considering that you have to get a new wig, and factor that into the cost of how much you're willing to pay. 4, take listing titles with a grain of salt. Ask yourself, is it really a brand new in-box doll, or is it a doll with the box? I find that sometimes people say, this doll brand new in box, but it's just a doll with the box, that she's obviously been taken out of it. And this is fine. This doesn't mean that don't buy the doll. It might make a good gift if you wanted a cheaper gift and then you just have the box that goes in it. But, don't pay a brand new in box price for a doll that's obviously not brand new in box, but just with the box. I have bought a few dolls before that have the box, because even if they're taken out of the box, sometimes they are in better condition because they're bought by collectors, so they have the original box. So it doesn't necessarily mean that this is a bad deal, but just, keep that in mind. Don't pay more for it if it's not brand new in box. Also, sometimes rare can be put on dolls that aren't actually rare. But also dolls can be rare but not valuable, just like you number 20 with blonde hair, bangs, and gray eyes, because just because she's rare doesn't mean people want her. I mean, sometimes the dolls have retired for a reason, so just because a doll is rare doesn't mean she's worth more money. However, dolls like Zi Yang are rare and cost a lot but are in super high demand. Just like U4. Just like U4 is not technically rare, but she's just become really trendy on AGIG and American Girl YouTube. So she's a really popular doll recently, so that's what's driving her value up. So just because something's rare or hard to find doesn't mean that it's worth more. Most people aren't American Girl collectors, and they're just selling toys and aren't experts. Think about it this way. If they're selling a doll or a toy, they're probably not that connected to it, so they probably don't have that much knowledge about it. And so just keep that in mind when you're reading descriptions, that somebody might say something wrong and they might call something Pleasant Company when it's really not Pleasant Company, or call it a character that's not really that character. So don't trust the listings too much. For example, if a doll says it's Elizabeth but really it's a Kirsten, just make sure you know what the doll looks like that you're searching for. So beware of fakes. Fake dolls do exist. Now I hear this kind of rumor that American Girl fakes don't exist, and there's just different off brands, so like My Life As and Our Generation, and just different brands. That different brands do exist, but there's also people out there trying to sell fake American Girls that look very, very similar to American Girl dolls, and are trying to sell them as the real thing. A few times molds have been stolen from the American Girl factory, and people have used it to create fake dolls that look very similar. And I'm going to attach a video down in the description box it breaks down fake American Girl dolls really, really well, and it's very detailed. It's a very short and simple video, but I highly recommend watching it before you buy dolls on eBay because it's very thorough. However, there can always be exceptions, so this doesn't include all the possible fakes that could exist. Number 7, factory overstock is amazing. You will see lots of ads that show official American Girl outfits and accessories, not in AG stock photos. And sometimes they're for really cheap or for half the price. These are not fakes. I'm sure that some are, but most are not. And they are just from American Girl factories that have leftovers. So they might not have all the pieces, but they're just trying to clean out their factories. So if you see images like these coming up from China, it's a good chance that it's factory overstock and still official American Girl. But they're just trying to clear out their factories and don't want to ship it over to America and have the cost of putting it in American Girl box and all that stuff. Number 8 is pay attention to shipping and import fees. So these can add up really quickly, especially if you live in Canada like I do. So I, on average, spend anywhere from $20 to $40 to ship a doll, and then usually around $10 for the import fees. And the import fees are based on the value of what you're paying. So the import fees are calculated on how much you spend on the doll, not including shipping. And it's kind of like a complicated process, but just budget for that. I know some people out there, and I see it all the time, they're like, oh, I only spent $40 on this doll, but then they spent $40 on shipping. Well, you really spent $80 on that doll, because you wouldn't have to have paid for the shipping if you didn't bought the doll. So that's just some tip there. When you're budgeting for a doll, make sure you budget for the shipping and the import fees, which eBay will list. So for Canadian collectors, if it says anything other than USPS, not UPS, but USPS, which stands for United States Postal Service, then you could have to pay more for when it arrives at your door. So if they ship through like FedEx or UPS or another service like that, because it's not regulated by the government, it's just like a private company, they could charge more for when it comes to your door for like additional import fees. This hasn't happened to me yet because I usually go through USPS. eBay is also really good at getting you to pay those fees up front, but it could still happen. So make sure you have some money left over in your budget just in case if that happens. And I would probably maybe do like $20 or something like that if you're buying like $100 doll, just in case. So number 10 is buying in lots can save you lots of money overall. So you have to pay up more up front for a lot of dolls, and a lot just means like multiple pieces that you're going to be bidding on. So a lot, for example, might be like 5 dolls instead of 1, so you're purchasing the 5 dolls at once. So you could save money that way, because you could end up getting, like, if you spend like $250 for 5 dolls, that's like $50 per doll, even though that's more than just buying 1 doll at a time. So if you're willing to spend a little bit more, you could get more dolls. Now, oftentimes these dolls are not in the best condition, and by best condition I mean they don't have like their full outfits, and they might not even have original American Girl outfits, or they might not even have clothes. But if you're a person who doesn't care about that sort of thing, or if you like fixing up dolls, or if you're buying dolls for kids, then that's a really good option, because you can get a lot of dolls for a cheaper price than if you were to buy them individually. They just might not be in absolute perfect condition. But every lot is different, and you can get some very good deals. Another tip is pay attention to seller reviews and read reviews. Also pay attention to how recent these reviews are. If there's a lot of bad reviews recently, don't buy. However, if someone has a 4.8 rating and has hundreds of reviews, that is better than one person having a 1 review with 5 stars. So it's better to have lots and lots of reviews that are, pretty good. Not perfect, but pretty good, like excellent, than it is to have only a few reviews that are excellent. If it has 1 or 2 reviews, I'd be like, okay, like it's up to your own risk. But if they have no reviews, I'd be kind of suspicious. Or if they only have like 3 reviews and they're all negative, I would not buy at all. And then also see why people are complaining. Some people only give 3-star reviews, but then they'll say like, this is amazing and arrived on time. And then they give like this amazing review, but they only give it 3 stars for some reason. So just make sure you actually read them and figure out what people are saying. Number 12, if you need a specific character doll, make sure you know what that doll looks like before purchasing. You don't want to buy a doll thinking it's Kirsten when it's a Just Like You 3. It doesn't matter too much if you're buying for a kid, and if it is a good price for that doll regardless, I would still get it. However, don't spend Kirsten prices on a doll that's not Kirsten. I've seen way too many people buy a doll they think is Ivy when it's really just like you doll, and they paid way too much money. So if you're looking for a doll or a character doll that's very expensive, make sure you know the eye color of the doll, the hair color of the doll, the hair length of the doll, the hairstyle of the doll. Make sure you know all that information. Sometimes people will even try to make like custom dolls. I saw someone trying to sell a Nelly once with green eyes, and that's not too bad if you don't mind having a doll that's not official Nelly, but Nelly doesn't have green eyes. She has blue eyes. So just pay attention to things like that. Just, the eye color and hair color of the doll, and then length and any special features. Like, for example, if it's Felicity, if they have pin curls, that sort of thing. Just make sure you really know what a doll looks like before purchasing. 13, make a budget for how much you're willing to spend on a certain doll and stick to it. If you say you're never going to spend more than $200 on a doll, stick with it. For example, that's my limit, but I would make exceptions if she came with lots of clothes or accessories, or if she came with extra books or furniture, because that's clearly a doll with a lot of official American Girl extras is worth more than just a doll. You need to really make these decisions for yourself. Also, don't get too wrapped up in the excitement of bidding and then you end up overpaying. Don't get too attached to a doll and then if you end up losing, because sometimes, not often, but I have to say like maybe 50% of the time, eBay can be kind of like a competitive place. Other times I've bid on things before and nobody else has bid on it, and so I've gotten a doll for really cheap. So it's not like always a crazy vicious place, but sometimes it is. So just don't get wrapped up in the moment and just stick to your budget and don't go over budget. And also decide if it's worth it to spend more if she comes with extra outfits that are official American Girl, or even if she comes with extra outfits that are not American Girl, but if you're just buying it for a kid who is going to play with the doll, then maybe just having extra outfits that are off-brand is okay with you. So number 14 is one of my biggest tips, is that you need to determine how valuable something is to you and no one else. I do not advise talking to other people or asking on Facebook groups, is this a good deal? Because one of two things will happen. First, they could say, that's too expensive, because to them, a doll is a doll, and they'll buy a doll without an arm or a leg if it's a good enough deal. Which those people are valid, because we all have different budgets and have different phases of our lives. So they could try to get you not to buy a doll you really want and think is a good deal, because they personally wouldn't spend it, because they don't care if a doll is a Cecile and is $200 is a good deal for her, because to them they would buy any doll, so they can get a doll even for $30 on eBay. So I wouldn't listen to those people, because if there's a really important doll that you would like, you need to determine how expensive you're willing to spend. Also, there's another situation that could happen. Another example is if you ask a group of sellers, they might inflate the price of a doll, so the doll they're trying to sell is more valuable. For example, if let's say I'm selling you a Cecile, I want to get as much money as possible from selling my Cecile, so if you ask, is $300 a good price for a Cecile, they might reply, well, Ceciles are worth $500. Trying to make their doll more valuable, and eventually if enough sellers say this and people begin to repeat this, all you will see is Ceciles for $500 on eBay. So, in short, my advice, don't ever ask people if it's a good deal. You need to make that decision for yourself and do your own research based on what other people are selling. And my final tip is patience. It can take months or even years to find a doll that is in good condition for the price you're willing to pay. But don't be discouraged by this, because eventually you will find them. I gave myself a goal of finding for 5 years to find all of my dream dolls, and I ended up finding them within a year or two. I found them all, and they were all retired. I found Molly, Felicity, Elizabeth, Nelly, and Cecile. So I found all of those dolls in 1 or 2 years for some really good prices. If you want to see my video that I just posted last week, which is how much I spent on my collection, I break down how much I spent on each doll. That's another video you can watch there, just if you're curious to see how much I've saved on my dolls, because I did get some really, really good deals. But don't be discouraged if you lose a bid or if you don't get a doll that you really wanted, because chances are, if it's a character doll, you will probably see it in the future, because American Girls are very popular and people know they're valuable, so they try to sell them. Even if they're not American Girl collectors, they still like to make some money, so they'll try to resell the dolls. That is all of my eBay tips for now. If you have any questions, make sure to leave it in the comment section below, because I would love to answer them. Those are all of my tips for eBay. Hopefully you guys found this helpful, and hopefully you are not scared to purchase on eBay after watching this video, because eBay is not that scary. I've had very, very few bad interactions on eBay, and I definitely will continue to purchase things on eBay. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time with another doll related video.